They done do died. They done do died. They did do died. They died. It's almost 11 o'clock, and I started this at like 8 something. Okay. Since everything before was everything before, I'm gonna just keep this up as a separate video. So this, I pulled the cards for the I Ching today. I'm just gonna upload this as the I Ching reading because this is like all I Ching anyway, and it'll be hopefully like 5 minutes, right? So we have the Ace of Cups and the Lovers. The Ace of Cups was at the top of the deck. The Lovers was at the bottom of the deck. The Page of Wands, the Stronghold of the Flame, is what was under the Lovers. Here's the Salamander. The tail has regrown. The tail begins again. Excuse me, we're resuming where we left off, maybe. Right? It's also a messenger, a message of peace, potentially, a peace offering. Who was coming over to the house? Peace offering potentially with that dove. Um, and so, I was talking about how this may kick off in the summer, right? Because the Ace of Cups, or not the Ace of Cups. Yeah, because the Ace of Cups speaks to the element of water. The element of water rules the summer. Summer solstice, June 21st, I believe. But it's like the message may come in the spring before it really kicks off in June. And I said the spring because the messenger of the fire suit, fire rules the spring. We still have this season and Gemini season. So roughly a month or so. I don't know why I'm trying to get into specifics. Again, I don't know why I'm trying to get into astrological timing. I don't know. But there could be an extension of some kind of piece, and then it'll proceed into whatever. But again, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about making choices that will lead to greater fulfillment in the long run. Fulfillment that spans multiple years, if not leading to fulfillment for all of your days until the rest of time, your time here at least. And it's also saying to make choices from the heart with this Lovers and this Ace of Cups. Make choices from the heart, especially like because desire can also live in the heart. So if love and desire, if you're like, if they line up, like go for it, I guess. Fire and water make steam, which is air. The Lovers is ruled by Gemini, which is an air sign. Gemini season, I guess. Gemini season. Maybe when Gemini season roll around, somebody will try to reach out, extend some kind of peace, and then it'll really take off after the summer begins, potentially, right? Because we do have that Page of Wands, a message of the spring, messenger of the spring, and we got Gemini right here. Gemini is in the spring. It's the last spring month. But let me get into this I Ching. Let me read this, shut this down, begin my day, because the AirPods was already like, okay, you done been on here long enough. So 2.5 hours seems to be how long they last before needing to charge. At least when I'm talking. So number 47, which was Iron Hand, which does not sound. Uh, well, we'll see. I don't want to project anything onto it, especially before I've read it. There we go. Block the light so I can read this. Number 47, Oppression, Iron Hand, and Feeling Trapped. This is Coon. Okay. This is interesting. Hold up, wait. Yep, okay. I got the right ones. A state of inner oppression. You are overwhelmed, unable to cope with your feelings of entanglement. There is indecisiveness in the face of what you see as your adversity. Yet you are being oppressed by that which is not oppressive. You can still prevail in spite of the initial oppression. You are oppressed by bonds that can be broken easily. The oppression is in your mind. Reconcile logic, reason, and rationality with emotional expression, intuition, and spiritual understanding. So every time I'm like, I hope and I pray that when you make these choices, when you move forward, I hope you wouldn't make those choices out of fear and out of anxiety and worry and stuff like that. I mean, that is basically saying that, hey, it's like those things are real, but you also have a real opportunity in front of you. So the oppression is in your mind, like the cards. It's like you're being oppressed by something that isn't oppressive. Um, so that ended up, I mean, honestly, that gives me an Eight of Swords vibe and a Devil vibe. And the Devil, I mean, we have the lovers right here, right? Who chains up the lovers? The Devil. And the Devil card, typically the lovers are chained to each other, but they're loosely chained to each other. Like they could free themselves and then like go on and live their lives, but they're tied to this thing. And like the entry said, it's like these bonds could be broken easily. They're in the mind. There's an Eight of Swords and a Devil vibe, right? I'm actually gonna read and see what that I Ching would be. That would be the Devil on the bottom, Eight of Swords up top, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's in your mind, right? The devil ain't necessarily putting you in your mind. Well, the devil put you in your mind in the past, but you're keeping yourself in your mind. It's like he set up the program. Now you just have to close it. He's already walked away from the situation and moved on to something else, potentially, right? But now it's just you in your own mind, right? That's at least how I'm taking it, how I'm feeling it. So that would be Earth on the bottom and Eight of Swords, Lake up top. Oof, I love this. So we have Earth, Lake, Lake, Water. Earth on the bottom, Lake up top. Upper trigram is Lake, bottom trigram is Earth. Oh, wow. No, Earth. Okay. That's assembly number 45. And I believe that was just number 47, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because I was like, oh, that's an 11. So we go from 47:11 to a 45:9, which is all about completion, which makes sense, right? Yeah, 45 assembly, 47 oppression, iron hand, feeling trapped. Okay. So 45 is assembly and hold together. This is Kui. Or wait, what's the C's? Twa. So Tui, maybe? Tui? I think the C's are pronounced like a T. There's Hua Tian Tuo. That's CUO, I think. Tuo. Hua Tian Tuo. 耶好善了，日窗里早马亮着，那不是彻夜等候。你为我点的烛火，不过是日子邂逅。红楼那一场梦，我都学全部色相配的日西过，杯中几次鬼魅，我忘了我是谁。I haven't listened to that song in a minute. 心情就像月亮如水，手里握住蝴蝶，背当飞，不醉不归，花千里放的错。I would look that song up, I guess. Maybe. It's by Wang Li Hom, WANG space LEE space HOM, called Hua Tian Tuo. I guess I'll type it just in case. I love that song. Wang Li Hom. Did I? Oh, I didn't put the space in. I can kind of see. What? Actually, can. It looks like it's more out of my right eye than my left eye, which is interesting. Hua Tian Tuo. I believe that's how you spell it. I took Chinese in my senior year of high school because somehow my high school, out of all the schools in the country or even the state, partnered with a school in Taiwan. And so I couldn't take Chinese the second semester of my senior year because it conflicted with AP biology. And so I took AP biology. But I got a 5 on the AP test. So that was a credit that I didn't need for college, even though I ended up taking a class anyway because I didn't know that I had already gotten the credit for it. And I had a friend in that class. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I got an A in that class because, I had a good teacher in AP biology, and so it set a good foundation for when I took biology in college. Anyway, 花千错 Also, what's the other song? I don't remember. That don't matter. Oh yeah, dude, I love that song too. Okay, I'm gonna be listening to Chinese music today. It's fine. So, assembly and hold together. Twee maybe a leader rises among them. You are destined to gather the people in congregation and unite them under your purpose. But take care that when you do, you are also prepared to handle the strife that is bound to arise when people congregate. Sharpen your weapons. They will be needed to battle the dangers ahead. This is your forever. No, this is your forever. This is your forewarning. Have a contingency plan in place. Sacrificing your personal interests to follow a divine guiding force is beneficial. Choose progress. Well, there's the choice. Choose progress, choose hope, choose fulfillment, choose faith. Did I read that right? Upper trigram, bottom trigram. Yeah, I guess I did. That's not what I was expecting, but maybe that's just talking about like, more than anything, it's like don't be I don't want to say don't be disillusioned because like disillusion is to remove the illusion, right? That's to see it clear. Like don't fool yourself into thinking that just because I don't know, maybe you like this person a lot and they like you a lot and y'all vibe a lot, that y'all ain't gonna have no issues, no problems. Because like I said, like whenever people congregate, whenever people come together, strife is imminent because we're different people and we're learning to get on the same page. And it's not saying that things will be chaotic and wild, but it's like also be realistic. Maybe also we can project that further back, right? Because I mean, even though that's coming next, if the iron hand being oppressed by the something that shouldn't oppress you, even if that's sort of like the space that we're kind of sort of more in now and we're coming out, well, yeah, because we're coming out of this space, right? And so maybe like that space is what cut the lizard's tail off, right? And so now we got a lizard without a tail because maybe two people tried to come together and had, for lack of, no, not for lack of a better anything, they had more healing to do separately, right? Or more healing to do in general. And so maybe that's why it kind of sort of fell apart because they tried to come together. There was strife, and it said, "Ready your weapons." Well, somebody ready to weapon and cut that mess off. Like you said, up, boom, cut, done. But now it's like the tail is growing back. It resumes. Maybe it comes with an offer of peace, and ultimately, at the same time, I feel like it's going to teach you how to work better together. I think both people. I mean, if ever something like that happens, or a lot of times stuff like that happens, it's like there's lessons to be learned on both sides. There's always lessons to be learned on both sides, right? And it's like even if you fight with family, right, and you come back, even if you argue with a friend and you come back, it's like you cool down, you do whatever you need to do, they cool down, they do whatever they need to do, and then one day you just shoot somebody a text like, "Hey, like it's been a while, like what are you up to?" And they're like, "Oh, not really up to nothing," or "This is what I've been up to." Like, "What are you up to?" And then they say what they're up to, and then somebody apologizes first. Doesn't matter who. Maybe neither people. Sometimes neither person apologizes because, especially if you just have that relationship where you have that understanding and that knowing that the other person doesn't need to say it, and then it's like they know that and you know that they know on both sides, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be said. Then it's not necessarily a who apologizes first. Maybe both people apologize at the same time. We got the whole Ace of Cups here. There might be a lot of tears shed, and I ain't gonna say ain't nobody got time for that. But maybe just be prepared to shed a tear or two, because the whole Ace of Cups is here. That's a lot of water. It ain't all salt water, but it may be a little bit of salt in that water. Um, but yeah, and again, it was like maybe this illusion of separation is it's like whenever the human mind, and again this goes back to in some ways partly childhood trauma, especially when the brain is less developed. Whenever the human mind encounters a certain situation, it likes to rationalize and reason and create logic, right? Like if the brain is a computer, it's like the brain creates this program that gives the resulting output. Even if the program that you create isn't a true reflection of what actually happened and what will happen in the future, It's like your brain creates a program, excuse me, that gives that number, right? And so let's say that the program that you come up with is like 2 plus 2 equals 4 because you got a 4. You got a 4 result. Okay, I'm gonna just keep going, even though I was just gonna do that real quick and then get off of here. I'm gonna keep going. Um, well, let's say like you get a result that's a 4, and so your brain, especially if you're younger, your brain goes, okay, 2 plus 2. And so now every time you come into this situation, you're 2 plus 2ing to get 4. But let's say it was actually a 2 times 2 situation, right? And so now you come into this a different situation where you're using plus instead of time. So it's like now it's time for you to do like, let's say 9. This it's perfect. Let's say 9, right? So you're doing your 2 plus 2 equals 4 to get 9, to get 2 plus 2 gives you 4. And now you have to get a 9, right? You have two twos, but 9 is odd, and you don't yet know what a point 0.5 is. And so you're like, 4 plus 4 is 8, but 5 plus 5 is 10. So I can't get to 9. And then you short circuit because 9 is an odd number. It's you can't get like 4.5. If you don't know what a point 0.5 is, you go 4 plus 4 is 8, that's not enough. 5 plus 5 is 10, that's too much. I can't do this. And so friction, things fall apart, boom. The salamander has lost its tail. It's not grown back yet. It can't grow back because your program is still trying to do it. You can't reconcile 4 plus 4 and 5 plus 5 to get that 9, right? Now, if you ran a times program like multiplication instead of addition, you would know 3 times 3 is 9. And so that's a situation where you create a bigger problem where it's like we went from 2 times 2 to 3 times 3. And like if you're running a plus program, that's a bigger jump, right? Now you're going like between Forbes and five, you're between 4 and 5, and it's like a 3, right? And like now you have this 3 times 3 to get that 9. And you can't reconcile it in your plus program. And so that's when you have to go back, decondition, reevaluate, and then come up with something new. I kind of sort of lost my train of thought, but it was all about the programs that we write mentally to reconcile a situation or to make sense out of a situation. And when you're a child, the tools and the language that you have is very limited. And so that's how we sort of grow up with these traumas, and we never address the program until we're faced with the result that it can't give us, right? So let's say I went from 4 to 10. You're like, okay, 2 plus 2, 5 plus 5, I go to 12, 6 plus 6, 20, 10 plus 10, right? And then you're doing this plus, 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 plus all your life until you come up with an odd number. I'm like, oh, you're odd. An odd number. Someone unique, someone different, someone who breaks the mold. The odd man out doesn't fit nicely, evenly, squarely into the little thing you had. And now you're just like, something's wrong with you. This doesn't work. And it's like, no, something's wrong with your programming. This is 3 times 3. It's like, it's not, maybe first grade math, but if you go to the fourth grade, when you start doing your times tables, 2 times 2 and then 3 times 3 is right after. But you can't get there with this plus mentality. You see something odd, you shut down. Maybe that's societally. We see something odd, we see something that doesn't fit, we see something that ain't divisible by 2. It ain't black or white, it's in between, it's in the middle, it's a spectrum somewhere, and we just shut down and we ostracize it, we put it down, we call it other, and we shove it to the sides, right? We make it outcast. When in reality, all you got to do is just be like, oh, that's 3 times 3. Okay. Well, then let's speed this up, right? Let's take this up another notch. It's not necessarily different, but let's say instead of doing the multiplication program, you do the power program, you do the exponential program. And so instead of 3 times 3, you learn a little bit more and you go, oh, that's 3 squared, right? So you keep the 2 up there. So now you don't have to necessarily get 2 numbers, but now you just plug in 1 number and it automatically squares. 2 squared, 4. 3 squared, 9. 4 squared, 16. 5 squared, 25. 6 squared, 36. 7 squared, 49. You know what I mean? And you keep going. And that's just like basic. That's not even like getting more into like actual complex stuff like that anyway. And so maybe it's like, when you come into these modes and these moments where you can't get it to reconcile with that assembly, it's like whenever you come together there's going to be issues. So maybe in the beginning you came together, there were issues, neither person maybe had a program that can reconcile it completely, or even if one person had a program that couldn't reconcile it, then that separation had to come. And then you re-go through your program, you update it, you learn some more, you grow, you heal, you update, you learn, you grow, you heal, blah 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 blah. Now you can see it working because the program that you're running now is different than the program you ran before. Maybe the other person, hopefully the other person did some growing too, and the program that they're running now is different than the program that they ran before. So when you come back together, like, yes, you're gonna always have sort of like it's not gonna be like completely 100% like um difference free, and I don't think you would want that, because when two individuals come together, they are able to play off of each other's strengths and create things that are better than they would be able to do individually, right? Like if you could do just as well individually, you'd probably doing it individually, right? But you get to bounce things off of each other, and bouncing things back and forth, right? That's different than like, it can be different than like these full blown arguments that turn into blah blah blah, and then it's like toxic situations. And maybe it's a toxic situation because of the way that you resolve conflict between you and the frequency at which conflict comes into your relationship. And so it's like, yeah, things are nice, but ooh, the fights are ugly, and then people say ugly things and people's feelings get hurt, and then we have makeup sex and we pretend like it never happened. It's like, okay, well, but y'all like get into an argument every day, if not like 2 times a day sometimes. Like there has to be a better way to resolve conflict, right? Anyway, so it's a lot of that. Um, but I feel like with this Ace of Cups, it's like, the cup has grown bigger, the cup has expanded to incorporate more liquid, right? Maybe before we were doing a Two of Cups thing, right? And the Ace of Cups is much, much, much bigger than the Two of Cups. The Ace of Cups is even bigger than the Ten of Cups. The Ace of Cups is the biggest cup, right? So you can pour all kinds of stuff in the Ace of Cups, and it has room for more stuff. You can continuously pour into it. And maybe that's the type of relationship, hopefully, right? That would be the dream. It's the type of relationship that you can continuously pour into, where conflicts are resolved in a loving way and not in a way where you have to tear the other person down or demean the other person or blah blah blah, whatever, right? It speaks to a higher level of programming. I mean, we do see the dove there, so anyway, so that is this. I'm going to shuffle these up, get a final message. I'm not going to shuffle up the SKT. That is the final message from the SKT. It's the one message from the SKT. Um, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to link this from the last video, even though it does pick up where that video left off. It's like enough of its own thing that, and I basically had to start from the beginning anyway. So, I might as well. Why am I just trying to put the cards in there? Where's the box? Hello? But yeah, psychology is wild, y'all. Like, I remember talking to my therapist, and he was like, Patrick, the decisions that you made as a child when you were still developing psychologically, mentally, emotionally, when your experience of the end of the world was not what it is now, when you didn't go through all of these things that you went through, when your life experience was limited, and so what you could see yourself working and moving past was less, like, you don't have to hang on to any of that stuff anymore. Like, you've changed and you've grown, and so you don't have to hang on to the same mindsets. Like, you don't have to hang on to the same decisions. Like, your tools, your programming, your language has expanded. You know more than just pluses and minuses now. You can, like, you're an engineer. Like, you can get complicated if you want, right? We are all engineers. Like, you don't actually have to be an engineer. Um, like, we engineer our own lives. We design it, we test it, we build it. Some of us design and test and build, and then we change and modify, and then we proceed. Some of us just go, oh, this is the hand I was dealt, and I'll never get any better, so I'll just try to make do. It's like, that's fine. That's one approach. But like I said, I got too much defiance in me to just be like, oh, no, I can do better. Like, this was cute for a while. I played this and I played that, and I slowed down. But now it's time to get moving, because this is not where I started. Anyway, but yeah, So, but when he said that, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, like you right. I really don't have to do that anymore. And that really isn't the end of the world. It's like I've talked about Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt before, but she's like, when she goes to the horror themed restaurant or whatever, she's like, this is what people think is scary. Like, this is nothing. She's laughing at everything. She's like, I can't believe like it's scary. Like, this is what people are afraid of. Like, I've been through so much worse than this. Like, this is a joke. And it's not that it is a joke, but it's, it's saying that, maybe you've gone through worse things and you've healed through worse, like with the broken femur, right? If you've broken a finger, if you've had a broken femur that's healed, then like you can heal a broken pinky, right? Like, slap a cast on it and you'll be fine. If you've healed a whole femur, like if you walked around on crutches, you can deal with like a splint on your hand, right? It may be inconvenient. It's still going to be inconvenient, and it's still going to be hurt. But the fact of the matter is, you should be able to manage it, right? Or at least it's not the end of the world. You wait until it heals, and then you go back to normal. Hopefully, it heals, right? Oh no, that's exile. All right, I'm gonna get a final magical dimensions oracle card and activator before I put these away, and then I'll put those away, and then I'll end this, and then I will. Oh my gosh! Oh, I thought it was afternoon. I gotta check my turnip prices before noon, y'all. On Animal Crossing, I bought some turnips. I did not think I would be on for like 4 hours. It was like 8 something or 7 something when I set up. When I woke up, it was like 7 something. I was like, ain't no way it's gonna be like, noon by the time I'm done. So I can check my turnip prices later. No, because it was like 8:01 when I clicked that live button, and I was like, oh, I could check, like, it didn't come live, but I was like, I could check my turnip prices real quick. I was like, no, I'll just do it after. Oh, whoops, that was quick. Oh, is this breakthrough? I think it is breakthrough. Oh, 2 cards came out. Oh, we saw this yesterday, didn't we? Emergence and breakthrough. Yesterday it was emergence and wisdom. Bottom of the deck is attachment. Oh my gosh, I love this because I confuse breakthrough and attachment sometimes. Like the setting, the scenery is semi similar, but they are very different cards. But sometimes I see attachment and I'm like, is that breakthrough? Breakthrough and emergence. We were literally just talking about these attachments, weren't we? That was the first I Ching. It was like, you have these bonds that can be easily broken. Now we have breakthrough and emergence coming out of this attachment. Breakthrough and emergence give me heavy butterfly vibes. Breaking through the chrysalis and emerging as a butterfly. And it's like the safety of the chrysalis, the safety of the cocoon is like I get it, but at the same time, like, how do you not get claustrophobic? Like, you can't live your whole life in a cocoon, right? I mean, you could, but I feel like I guess I'll read these. Um, I mean, I feel like I don't have to, but I will. So, breakthrough is number 4. It speaks to leap of faith, freedom, and new beginnings. Emergence is number 11. We got 4 and 11. I've actually been looking at like 411 and 11.4 and stuff like that lately as like, if I'm being completely honest, 411 gives me 4 of Wands vibes, right? But we have 4 and 11 here, and then number 2 is on the back. So you have a 2 and an attachment, and then you have a 2 in the emergence. And I love that. I love that because 2 being duality can also speak to choice, right? You can choose emergence or you can choose to remain attached. But emergence is an 11-2, which is like a master number. So, anyway, emergence speaks to creation, resurrection, and magician. So we have magician energy here. We have leap of faith, which is full energy here, with new beginnings, which could be the world, right? 4 of Wands could be, 4 of Wands is like turning the page. It's a new chapter. The world is like a whole new book. right? More so. And then the attachment number two, I just read breakthrough again. Attachment number two is accumulation, defensiveness, and scarcity. So, I mean, I guess I don't have to say that it speaks to accumulation because it's an attachment, right? This is something that's built up over time. And so, time is an illusion, yes, but it can't be measured, but it can be experienced and it can be felt, right? Like people say time is a human construct, time is like man made. And it's like, kind of, sort of, but not really, because nature abides by time, right? It's seasons and it's cycles. And when you have a season and a cycle, you have time, whether you measure it or not, right? The flowers are blooming, the flowers are dying, the crops are ready. It's time to plant the crops. The bird just hatched out of the egg. The bird just laid an egg. The bird has a family now. The bird is just got pushed out of the nest and it's flying. The bird has actual like wings and not just like, down or whatever. The fluff. It's not just fluffy. It actually has wings that it can flap to fly. Like the stars, right? It just died. Now it's going supernova, right? It's everything is cycles. And so like yes, man measures time, but time is it's an experience. It's the realm in which we live. It's not to be bound by it, but it's not to completely neglect it either. Um and so it's like you have this experience, you have these attachments maybe from childhood, right? It doesn't necessarily matter how long you've had them. It's something that you've carried with you over time. And it isn't measured time. This time is like, the Grand Canyon, right? One drop wears the stone. It could be solid rock, but if you over time, water is going to erode it, it's going to cut at it. And so over time, whatever this, I mean, maybe it was some more toxic water, right? Maybe the more toxic the water, the faster it cuts through the rock. And so it could have been a short time, but it just wore away at your bedrock, at your foundation, and left you feeling kind of empty. I was going to say kind of holy, right? Like you got holes in you, but being holy and then being made holy, right? It's growing beyond the pain and the sacrifice that we've had to make and all this stuff like that to come to be all of who we are. It's the strength that we didn't know we had until we had to have it, being made holy, right? Sacrifice. I said sacrifice, being made sacred, right? It's the same line of thinking. But because initially I was going to say, it's all a matter of time, but time is an illusion, right? When it comes to this baggage. And a lot of times it's like people's like, I've done this for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, whatever. Like I can't imagine myself doing anything else, but like you still have the rest of your life. Who's to say that you won't have 30 more? 30 is greater than 10, 5, and 20. Who's not to say that you have 100 more? 100 is greater than 10, 5, and 20 combined, right? I mean, you're probably not going to have 100 more. I'm not even going to say that because, after this COVID thing, maybe somebody in the medical field is like, you know what? We got wonders in the back office, right? And we can't let everybody go. So it's time to pull out one of them wonder drugs that we got in the back that actually works and that's like amazing without, all of the toxic side effects. Because there's some people who are well off and who, like, I don't know, maybe, I'm just speaking hypotheticals here, okay? Maybe they bust out the good stuff because of this, and then, or maybe they discover, biologically how we can do things to really prolong our lives, and maybe 100 isn't that unreasonable. I would be 127. I can't even imagine, but maybe I can. I don't know. If I'm happy and fulfilled, then why not? Wouldn't want to be immortal. Probably. It's like I need to change things up. Oh my gosh. Like, what if I want to come back as a woman? Or what if I want to come back as, I don't know, somebody shorter, right? Or somebody taller? What if I want to be a kid again? It's like I just want to be a child again. Anyway, um, what was I even talking about? Time with the attachments. It's like you can break that at any moment. And the more time you have behind it, it's interesting because whenever it comes to like attachments, whenever it comes to stuff that we don't like, it's like, like a job that you don't like, something else you don't like. It's like, I've been doing this forever. I might as well keep doing it. But when it comes to other things, it's like time heals all wounds. And it's like, okay, so there's a selectivity here, right? Time itself, maybe not. But with time, it gives you the opportunity to experience more. It gives you the opportunity to experience better so that you know that misery isn't all that you are capable of experiencing. And it also gives you the opportunity to experience things are worse. To know that, that thing that I thought was a big deal, maybe it's a little bit more minor now that I've gone through something that's actually a big deal. Time puts things in perspective because of the experience that we come into. And if you continue to choose to be miserable, and if you continue to force yourself to be miserable, and if you continue to hang on to things and to allow the attachment to those things to outweigh all of the experiences that come into your life, then of course you're not going to heal from it. It's like you're wounding yourself every day, every moment. You are deepening the wound. Every time you're not giving it an opportunity to heal. Like you're stabbing yourself where you got stabbed in the exact same spot at the exact same angle in the exact same way, and then you look at it and you're like, it's still bleeding. See, like time doesn't heal all wounds. It's still bleeding, and you're like, okay, well, uh, you just did it again, right? It's like I was reading something, I saw something on Tumblr because I guess I've been on Tumblr. I don't know. I see stuff all over the place now, and everything becomes a synchronicity or it becomes something to talk about. But again, that's like my life. I see metaphors in everything. I go through life as metaphors. I interpret and process in metaphor, if you can't tell. Um, but they were like poking these pencils into this like a bag full of water, and it was like, it wasn't leaking all over the place because they did it carefully and slowly. And then someone was like, see, this is why when you get stabbed you don't remove the thing, you leave it in, because once you remove it, then that's when all the water comes out, right? You leave it in. And then some paramedic was like, I shouldn't have to say this, but if you do remove it, don't freak out and try to put it back because you're stabbing somebody twice. And she was like, you would think I don't have to say this, but you're stabbing somebody twice if you try to put it back in because you freaked out when you pulled it out, right? And that's more like physical. That's something that you physically feel and observe. But the same thing can be said whenever you come into a better experience, whenever you experience something better, and you allow yourself. You don't even allow yourself. You just naturally begin to heal, and you naturally begin to pull away from that thing that hurts. But then you realize and you recognize how far you are, and so you snap back into that, and you're stabbing yourself again. And then you're wondering why you can never get over it. And it's because every time you rise out of this situation, you use that to then put yourself back in it, and you're stabbing yourself again, right? Every time you pull it out and then you take it back, and then every time it's pulled out and then you put it back, you're stabbing yourself again. You're not giving time and opportunity to heal that wound because you're re-wounding yourself. And that's when it's like it gets interesting, right? Because it's like mentally all kinds of things like happen, and then you look at things that you control, things that you don't control. The point is to get in control. The Queen of Swords in reverse. That's from the last video. I don't even know what I'm going to title that video. I mean, the card that came out was what? Illumination? Maybe I'll call it Illumination, even though it says positivity and joy. It wasn't that. I mean, in the end, maybe it will be. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm rambling again. It's about to be a whole nother hour. This was going to be a 10-minute video. I'm so bad at this. I got to cut this off before noon, though, because I got to check my turnip prices. And I could just grab it right now and check and keep talking, but I'm not going to do that. That would be rude. But anyway, so yeah, time is like real. Time is how we experience cycles and how we experience progression. Now, the measurement of it, the structures that we create around it aren't real, but the sun comes up every day and it goes down every day. Like the diurnal animals go to sleep, the nocturnal animals wake up. Like It's real. The structures that we create on top of it, the measurement that we make of it isn't natural, but it is a natural phenomenon, right? But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I got stuck up on that attachment and with time. Because I was going to say, like time is an illusion. Just because you've been through something for years doesn't mean it has to be your experience all the time. But then I was like, wait, time as a construct, time as in the clock is constructed, but time as the nature of cycles is very real. And so, like, what that experience was real. But again, if you keep rebounding to that hurt and to that pain, you're stabbing yourself again. And I don't know how long you can continue to stab yourself and expect to get healed. Like, I don't know if it necessarily works like that. But if you give yourself the opportunity to officially or more fully, even if you can't walk all the way away from it, again, psychologically, mentally, I don't know, maybe get a therapist. I'm sure a lot of people are doing therapy online nowadays because, we all locked in and therapists ain't trying to get sick. They trying to get paid, but they ain't trying to get sick. These are not shuffling. Okay, what's at the cut? The Empress and the Two of Cups is at the cut. I was trying to shuffle, they wouldn't shuffle, so I was like, okay, well, what's here? The Empress and the Two of Cups. I think I saw the Two of Cups and something else earlier when I was shuffling. Are you gonna shuffle now? I noted it. Yep. Okay. I guess sometimes if you don't want to shuffle, it's like, hey, look at me. I'm like, okay, I'll look at you. I'll give this a cut, and now let's go. One message, one message. I'm doing it over here because I ain't trying to lose no cards to the water. Well, if I had this flat, yeah, I'm gonna lay this flat. I have it angled up because it's easier for me to see, but I can lay this flat. Boom. There we go. And now I can do it here where y'all can see. Right? I mean, not that you have to see, but oh, a card just flipped over. I think. Let's see. See if we can find it. Maybe not. I think I felt it though. Maybe not. I thought I felt it. Nope, that's the back. There it is. Oh, two cards. Okay. And that's it? I think that's it. Yep, it looks like that's it. I don't know why I'm like, I need to show the people. Bottom of the deck is Temperance. Speaking of time, right? Oh, I heard you were talking about time. The Star and the Four of Cups. I feel like this is literally just confirming what I was just talking about. Because it's like you can wish and you can hope and you can pray to be delivered and rescued from this Four of Cups situation. But if you keep going back to the Four of Cups, then this healing will never, like, it's never going to take place. Like the Temperance is like an alchemizing and healing energy. It's about transmuting this into something else, right? And a lot of times that transmutation, especially if you're talking about relationships, it's like sometimes people say like to get over one person, you kind of sort of got to get onto another one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. To get over one person, sometimes you have to date somebody else, right? And it's like if you never allow yourself an opportunity to experience, oh, it was just 4411. If you never allow yourself an opportunity to experience something else, then it's like, how will you ever even know that there is greater? Right? That's like if I eat one, it's not even eating, it's just like, how can you make a claim that like this would have made me happy, this would have done that, and I'll never get another opportunity like this ever again, when you haven't even lived life to know whether or not you would actually even want it or would like it. right? You're assuming that you would even like the situation when you don't even necessarily know for sure. And like it's fine to have those assumptions. What's under this temperance? Under temperance is the tower. Under tower is the six of pentacles, right? It's like sometimes these tower moments happen to show us that better is possible. Like it doesn't happen to get us stuck, it happens to get us to move to then begin to seek the better, right? It's like if this building, let's say like this is like this is let's say that this building is empty, right? And let's say that for some reason there is a team of people. I'm gonna set these at the top. Everything else is down the bottom. Oh, oh no! Oh, I made it this whole time. The card just fell in the water, and it's the star. Oh no! Oh my gosh! I made it this whole time. If I would have just shut down the video, if I would have just shut down the video, the star wouldn't be wet. The star will be okay. Low key, this whole deck got soaked, and it's fine. I know to pat it dry now because if I try to wipe, that's how the Ten of Cups got ruined. Because I was like, first I was patting, and then I got impatient and I wiped, and it just wiped the thing right off. So it's gonna dry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This star is wet. Now I'm patting it like a baby in this baby blue blanket. Maybe somebody is hoping for some children. I would love to have a little boy to care for and to love. Maybe somebody hoping to not be pregnant. Shoot, let's keep it real. Venus retrograde is out here. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I felt the tag and I thought the card slipped out again. Actually, it's not too bad. Look at that. It's still fairly sturdy. I think the star is okay. It actually feels fairly dry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, on that note, it's almost 12 o'clock. I'm going to shut this down so I can rinse my feet, so I can check my turnip prices. What else was I saying? What else was I saying? Oh, yeah, I got to finish that analogy first. So it's like, let's say you have this construction company. Let's say it's an episode of Undercover Bosses with a construction company. Ooh, this is this. Oh my gosh. No. Okay, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Let's go with this construction company, right? And let's say that you have someone who's a new hire at this company, someone who's like, it is my dream to build people's dream houses. It is my dream to build people's companies, like the company that they've dreamed of, the house they've dreamt of living in. It is my dream to create the structures that serve as the vessel for those dreams to then be made manifest like that. Maybe there are some people who, like, I don't know, Magic Mike, he wanted to make furniture or something, right? I don't think I ever saw that whole movie. No, I never saw the whole movie. Did I see a scene? Maybe I saw clips on the internet. I don't know. I don't remember. He wanted to do furniture or something, right? And then he went to a business place. Have I seen that movie? Anyway, because I was like, I don't know who wants to be a construction worker, but hey, it's valid. Some people want to be carpenters. There are actually people who's like, I want to make someone's dream house. I want to make someone's dream business. I want to be involved in making that a reality, right? And so let's say like that's the mindset that they're going in, and then let's say that like the company that they're working for, the construction business is, let's just say it's less than what they hoped it would be. Let's say they cut a lot of corners, right? And let's say that they were like trying to make a deadline, and so they were coming up on the deadline, and somebody up top, not all the way up top, I ain't gonna say the whole company is crooked, but somebody in a position of leadership made the decision to cut corners. And let's say that that person found out about it, right? And let's say that that area is subjected to lots of earthquakes, right? And so um, let's say like in order to make the buildings more earthquake resistant, they sway and they move when the earth moves, because if you're too rigid when the earth moves, you're going to snap, right? And so let's say for whatever reason they cut corners and the building looks nice on the outside, but as soon as like the minorest of earthquakes happen, it's going to go down. And they know, this person knows that that person who's coming into this to make a dream a reality, now they're going to be out of pocket all of this money to come in and try to do like this restructuring or to do this repair, right? And let's say that that person thinks it's not fair to that person. And so with this tower moment, it's like they're waiting until until the building is empty, there's nobody in it, um and then let's say, I don't know, this is how it came to me. I don't like it necessarily, I don't like it, but this is how it came to me. um but let's say that like they have a way of doing like a controlled demolition or something to like shake the building a little bit, and let's say that they're doing it while again the building is empty, the building is completely empty. But let's say the person who's it's coming to check the progress of this building, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, and it is getting under the dreamers, it's getting under his skin that somebody would cut corners and would allow this to happen when this is literally someone's dream, and they're like starting from the ground up. Every penny that they had, they're investing in this, and they wouldn't be able to afford oh, excuse me, they wouldn't be able to afford the loss of that building. And that person's like, I literally got into this to see dreams made reality. Like this goes against everything I came into this business for. And so let's say they're like, you know what, I can't let this happen. So before all of the money is exchanged, let's just say there's some way. It doesn't have to be a controlled demolition. But let's say there's some way to show the people while the building is empty that the foundation is not solid, that somebody cut corners. And so let's say like the people come by, or the foreman or the boss. I think they're called foremans. I don't know. Maybe foreman is more factory. I don't know. But let's say like they're showing the people the building, and the person waits until everyone's looking at the building. Again, it's empty, but then they trigger something, and the foundation begins to shake, and it completely crumbles. And the person is like, "Whoa! Like, what was that? Like, I was supposed to be moving into that, and this area is subjected to lots of earthquakes, big or small. The earth shakes and moves a lot, and if it couldn't withstand that, that thing would not have withstood an earthquake. And like, what is going on here? And like, let's say that because the area is subjected to those earthquakes, it's written into whatever construction laws that the buildings have to be able to withstand whatever, right? And it would have been a lot easier after the construction was finished, after this person moved in, after a month, 2 months, a week had passed, a day had passed, and the earthquake came in after everything was officially signed and transferred over. It would have been so easy for the person who made that decision to say, you know, that's out of my control. That's like, it's out of my control. Like, we did everything we were supposed to do. Some buildings just go down, right? But this person was like, no, I'm not going to allow that to happen. And so before everything was finalized, they went in to show that that structure was not integrally sound, right? Integrally. Is that it? Structural integrity. I don't know. I just got caught up on the word. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. They went in to show that the building wasn't sound and that somebody cut corners. And then that person on the outside is like, I'm glad I saw this, because if this would have been finalized, I would not have been able to recover from this. And this is something that this area is subjected, like it happens so often, it's written into the construction laws, right? Because I don't know, insurance companies got tired of paying out money. And so they're like, hey, we're tired of paying out money. We get earthquakes all the time. Build it right the first time so we ain't got to pay. Because, you know, insurance companies a lot of times only do stuff for money, unfortunately. Maybe moving forward, that'll change. You know, I'm going to clean that up, because words hold power. In the past, maybe that would have been the case. But there's this opportunity, consciousness and business, consciousness all over the place is coming into power. There are people holding seminars where they do like breath work and they meditate and they talk about spirituality and stuff in the business field now. So it's definitely coming into prominence. It's definitely rising, right? More conscious and aware and blah blah blah, all that stuff, right? So I'm not going to say all insurance companies. They're becoming more conscious and aware too. Maybe it's more about fairness instead of the money that they're tired of paying. Um, but anyway, Right? It's like it's so much of an issue that it's actually like encoded in the laws. And so that's what this like temperance with the empty tower into the Six of Pentacles is sort of like that's the vibe that I'm getting off of that coming from this story of being oppressed by something that shouldn't oppress you, and then the strife that comes from two people coming together, right? It's like sometimes that strife is an indicator that two people shouldn't be together. Sometimes that strife is an indicator that two people need to heal before they come back together. Like, as you are, this would not have stood. And so we evacuated the building, right? We showed y'all where it's structurally not that sound, showed you the flaws in the foundation on both sides because a relationship is like two people building together. So they build out their foundations and then they come to this space where the foundations meet and then they build upon that foundation together. And so on the individual sides, it's to show you where your foundation is a little shaky, their foundation is a little shaky, fix that up, clean that up, and then come back and then we can build this castle, right? Or you can have a hut or whatever. Whatever you want. It's your dream house. Some people don't want castles and mansions and houses. Some people prefer like a yurt. Is that what they're called? In like the middle of nowhere, and they want to live a more natural life with somebody. Just because they want to be out in the middle of the woods, don't mean they want to be alone out in the middle of the woods, right? So you build whatever you want. I really got to wrap this up. Okay, but I'm pretty like that's the vibe I got from that. I said everything I wanted to say. Um, and that's like kind of sort of sometimes that's the nature of tower moments, right? It's not to freak you out and it's not to scare you or do whatever. It's to show you and illuminate things to you that aren't quite ready, right? It's like, would you really have wanted to? Is this dry? I think this is pretty dry. That dried like really quickly. Maybe hold it up to the light. Put it on the light so it can dry even more. Yeah, that dried fairly quickly. Okay. Thank you. I thought I lost the star card, y'all. The Ten of Cups is already a little whatever in this deck. I can't lose the star too. It's just a little piece of the rainbow. That's because you got to find the gold at the end of the rainbow, right? The gold is what you make it to be. Okay, well, the bottom is falling off. I might just have to get like a different box for this deck. I get something else to put these cards in. But anyway, that was the final messages. I'm gonna shut this down. I hope you have a good whatever, whenever. I couldn't even say that on the last video because my AirPods died, and then I tried to switch the default sound over on my laptop, but since I set it up to use the sound from that, I couldn't change it after I was live. Maybe YouTube, that's something to work on in the future. If I would have used OBS, I would have just been able to switch the input device, but I didn't use OBS, so sorry. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good whatever, whenever. This has been me just ranting and ranting and ranting. These are dump videos. The last one is tomorrow, I believe. After tomorrow, I will probably be going back to the uploads where I'll just be pulling the SKT, I'll do the I Ching. Hopefully it's like, 20 minutes. I might start doing that thing where I set an alarm for 20 minutes and whatever ain't said, boom, shut it off. Maybe not, but I might, right? All right, I gotta eat. I gotta check my turnip prices. I gotta get my day started. I gotta get this work done because I gotta move. I gotta move.